All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We always love getting into these big moments. You've brought us some really fascinating stuff for today's deep dive.
Yeah,
We're going to be looking at how a single event, like a real turning point, can end up shaping like the whole course of a nation, the U.S. in this case.
absolutely. And it's not just about the event itself, right? It's the ripples.
Yeah.
It's the long-lasting effects on society, politics, culture, even how we see ourselves. It all ties back.
I see, I see. Okay, so let's get into it. So from what I'm seeing here in these sources, we're really focusing on this idea of lasting impact. Not just a blip on the radar, but these deep, enduring marks.
Right.
So how do these major turning points, how do they do that? What makes them so sticky?
Well, one way is that these pivotal moments often become stories. They become part of the national narrative, the myths, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And those stories shape our values, our institutions, even our collective memory. It's like how we explain ourselves to ourselves.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, take the American Revolution, right? A huge turning point.
Yeah.
One of the articles here, it focuses on how the whole idea of liberty and self-governance,
Right.
as amazing as it was, it also created these contradictions, like who gets to be free, who gets to govern. These tensions were there from the beginning. And you could argue that those tensions, they laid the groundwork for future conflicts down the line.
That's a really good point. And it's interesting because the sources really highlight how these revolutionary ideals, they didn't automatically mean equality for everyone.
Right.
And that limitation, it created these fault lines. And later on, these fault lines erupted.
Yeah.
The Civil War is a perfect example, a brutal reckoning with those inconsistencies that were baked in from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the Civil War, your material really emphasizes how it wasn't just about, keeping the country together.
Mm-hmm.
It was about these fundamental contradictions, these ideals clashing head on, and the abolition of slavery. That wasn't just a side effect. It was a reshaping of the entire nation. Socially, economically, the whole structure changed. And that forced everyone to rethink what it meant to be a citizen, what equality truly meant. And we're still wrestling with that today.
Yeah, that's so true. And, if we zoom out a bit, the Civil War, as messy as it was, it paved the way for so many movements later on. The fight for civil rights, for equality. Each pivotal moment builds on the one before.